Wreaths Across America events were held all across the nation today. It's an annual tradition to honor service members. The bitter cold didn't stop volunteers from joining with organizers in placing wreaths at veterans' graves at Rosehill Memorial Cemetery in Minot. The Civil Air Patrol Magic City Composite Squadron, with senior member and coordinator Robin Stoner, organized the local event. Some die-hard volunteers worked alongside veterans and active duty military groups in making the day run smoothly. Stoner says they sold roughly 1,360 wreaths. 1,000 of those came to Minot, and they donated the remaining wreaths to Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia. A young member of the Civil Air Patrol shared with us the importance of keeping this annual tradition alive despite the elements.
Even if it's cold and even if it's, blizzarding, our veterans' memories should still be intact, and our younger generations should learn about it as well.
Stoner says organizers are hoping to bring an even bigger event next year.